Good evening, Akshatha. Thank you so much for being with us. Please introduce yourself to the BIS Connect parents.
Hey Bindu, good evening. Thank you so much for doing these interviews for all our candidates. It's really been helpful to know other candidates more than what the school views. It's nice to know them as the people that they are. Uh, Parents, I'm Akshata. I'm a mom to a grade 9 student here at BIS, and we've been here with the school for 7 years now, and I've seen him grow from a kid in an elementary school to a high schooler now, and the transformation that we've seen is amazing. Like the kind of views that they've built up, and the kind of perspectives that they have about various things in life and about how things will go on. It's really amazing, and I strongly believe that the school has a big role to play here.
Right.
And should I also talk about something like I belong to Bangalore, rather Karnataka. My roots are somewhere close to a place called Kundakura, in the coastal part of Karnataka. Then I've spent my schooling and major part of those schooling and college years in northern Karnataka, and for the past 15 years, I'm here in Bangalore. So I say like I belong to all of Karnataka.
Nice. Tell us a little bit about your childhood.
So I had an amazing childhood. I studied in a boarding school. You must have heard of these Senate schools for boys. They're run by the Ministry of Defense, and they're like spread all across the country. There may be at least 30, 40 of them. I don't know the correct number, but there are quite many, quite a lot of them. As I said, the state has like one or two, but there is only one such school for girls in the entire country, and that's where I studied. It's called Kitsurani Sumina Residential Senate School for Girls, and it's like a matter of coincidence that BIS is like a 50-year-old institution. It's like my school. That's also a 50-year-old institution established way back in 1960s. If I think of it, it feels like very amazing to know that somebody at that time could have such a vision of establishing such a school for girls, which is like totally like I don't know like how many families even encouraged girls to go get themselves educated at that period, and like people sending them to boarding schools. It probably was on that. So that was my school. Very proud of it. And I spent 7 years there, right from 6th to 12th grade. Amazing values that we have learned, and the principals or the HOCs that we had were all ex-army or Air Force people, and that is the kind of upbringing we have had there. Very organized, and like we would march from our dormitories to school, and a lot of sports like morning PT, games, studies, and extracurricular activities. And the place itself was so beautiful. It was like it's located in a very small place called Kittur. I don't know if you've even heard of it. Not many people know of it. Yeah. And so the school is on a hillock right on the outskirts of this very small town called Kittur. And it's like a 200-acre campus we had.
Wow.
Beautiful. You would go on long runs, you would have cross countries, all those things. Wonderful time. Yeah.
Amazing. And like you said, it's truly amazing that at that time, people were willing to send their girls to a boarding school in the middle of nowhere. Quite progressive those parents must have been, huh?
Seriously, yeah. Admire that.
So what do you do professionally, Akshata, and what inspired you to pursue your current profession?
Okay, I'll tell a little bit of my professionally. I've probably done a lot of different things. I started off my career as an Air Force officer. I joined the
Okay.
Indian Air Force as a short service commissioned officer way back in 2002. I spent 5 years with the Air Force.
Very nice.
I was posted, like I had a year-long training at Air Force Academy in Hyderabad, and post which my first posting was Jammu, and that was just in 2002, yeah, 2002 was when I landed there in Jammu, and those were the times that the Kargil war had just happened and the
Oh.
attack on the Parliament happened, and like a thorough South Indian, I have probably never in my life had been to the northern part of India before that. And I land there in Jammu and I see like bunkers all across the roads, barricades, and people with guns everywhere. Like our training was also like in Hyderabad, so we didn't see much of these, so we knew
Mm.
what it was. But then it was like, oh my God, where have I landed myself into that kind of feeling. But then the people over there, the kind of community that you live in a campus, so everything is there within, like your personal, professional life, everything is all
Mm.
woven together. And there's wonderful camaraderie that the seniors who like uh, take time to groom you, and the kind of bonding is like wonderful. So that is where I started off my career. I did my 5 years tenure with the Air Force, and like my husband, he like I was in the forces and he was a civilian, and
Mm.
I have been in various parts like Jammu. I did some short tenure at Rajasthan. So there was no family life. He was here in Bangalore, and I was roaming around everywhere else. So I took a call that this is not working out for us. So I decided to finish my term of 5 years, and I didn't take further extensions at that
Mm.
time,
Mm.
which I did I'm a chartered financial analyst. So I took up those exams while in the Air Force, and then worked with an US-based asset management company here in Bangalore. And I've had breaks after that. I did a fellowship with the government of Karnataka, the secretariat level, and I've run a travel startup with my friend. I freelanced as a content writer in the finance space, mostly
Mm.
to do with personal finance, investments, credit, and all these things. And now I work in a wealth tech startup called System. I am a part of the content and the branding team, and I look after all the content part of it.
Wow, that's quite a career. First and foremost, thank you for your service. I think we don't say it at all in India, I feel. Thank you so much for, I mean, actually landing up in Kashmir. Not too many Indians definitely see combat or even difficult situations. So, seriously, thank you for your service. And I think people who become
Thank you.
soldiers of any kind or in the armed forces, they have to be a very different sort of individual, right? Because I don't think I have it in me to lay down my life for some random strangers, maybe family members. But you guys are a different breed altogether and absolute respect. So, thank you so much for doing that. And then all the other varied things that you have. So basically, you're a writer that explains all the stuff that you were doing as part of IB and sending out all the, all that communication. Now we understand where it's all coming from. What drives you through tough times, Akshata?
I don't know, Bindu. I don't think tough times as like something to be thought of as something different.
Hmm.
So I think it's all a part of life. Probably it's been like how I've been brought up, and then all these situations that I've been in, like this boarding school that I spoke about. Like it's not like a fancy school that you see these days, like no separate rooms and separate bathrooms. It is like a dormitory where people of all ages live together, and I've learned to adjust to things with each other, and same with in Air Force also. It's always like you have to. There's a lot of give and takes and adjustment, and you have to cope up with the various kinds of situations and the training that they put you through. Like I think after that, there's nothing called as stuff. It's like all a part of life. So I think I take it like everything is like a learning experience. This too will pass, and then I'd like to take everything as it comes, one day at a time.
Hmm.
That's my thought life.
That's a very different answer so far. I mean, you're the seventh in line so far. That's a very different answer. People have, responded to that question differently. But to actually look at life and think, what tough times. This is just life. It's actually a very, very
Yeah, so
useful
every
perspective.
day it's like something you're facing something new. You're doing things differently, doing the same thing sometimes. I think every day you come up with something or the other that's a different kind of a challenge. To drive from place A to place B, there's like a challenge there.
Mm,
Like
mm.
especially like Bangalore.
Yeah, especially Bangalore. You can't drive at all. That's the challenge. You're standing still. Yeah, no, but that's an interesting perspective, right? Because I think sometimes we overthink it. I know I overthink it, and you kind of wallow
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the situation, and you're like, oh, my life is all terrible, whatever. But if that's the attitude you bring to the table, where you're saying, yeah, every day is tough, and every day is not tough, and it's just part of life. You just go through it, and you say, this too shall pass, and it will pass, and then you're better for it. I think that's really an interesting way of looking at things. If moods choose music, what moods drive your music choices?
Music choices. I listen to like a variety of music
Hmm.
from to like what is in flavor currently, like all these Ed Sheeran and all those Maroon 5 and whatever. And then I also listen to a lot of uh, various Indian languages. Like I visited Kashmir recently, like last year. So
Hmm.
I just got to know about some Kashmiri musicians, and they're like wonderful numbers, wonderful singers there. I don't understand a word of what they're singing, but then the
Nice.
music is what like I think it resonates with the soul. So
Right.
anything that catches my mood any time of the day, uh, right from A.R. Rahman, Tamil music, 90s. My dad was like a great fan of them, and he would get those cassettes home, and
Hmm.
I've listened to all those songs growing up. So music, like very, very, very wide variety. Like I make it a point, like any place I visit, if they have some folk music or anything of that sort, I make it a point to buy a CD. Like when we went to Dubai some long time back, we got some Nancy Ajram's Arabic numbers CD,
Wow.
and then suddenly got so hooked onto it, and it kept playing and playing over and over. And we went mad listening to those Arabic
Wow.
numbers.
Wow. Okay, now that is an unusual one to actually listen to languages that you don't understand. I mean, I know people in Germany apparently follow Hindi Bollywood songs, and it's
Yeah,
always
yeah.
fascinated me. Like, what are you getting out of it? You don't understand a single word that's being said, but maybe the beat, maybe the music. So to have
Yeah,
you say
it's
Kashmiri,
somehow, yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's interesting.
And then one Pakistani singers,
Yeah,
you should explore.
yeah, yeah, amazing.
Heard of
To listen.
Kashmiri and
Yeah. So to listen to a language you don't even understand, now that is a different level of eclectic music, totally out there. What do you think is unique about the cultural fabric of Bangalore?
oh, Bangalore. It's like, I don't know. I have not lived in any other cities in India other than Hyderabad where I was doing my training. So like we had 2 terms there. So the first 6 months, which is called the junior term of training, we barely stepped out of the academy. It's in the last 1 month I would have seen what is Hyderabad. Other than that, I've lived in Jammu and all, which long time back I don't won't call them as cities. But Bangalore, I think, has its own charm, like right from the weather, the people, the kind of exposure that you get here, and the startup culture that you have here, and the educational institutions.
Hmm.
There is like a perfect mix of everything. There's ISRO, there's Indian Institute of Science, NCBS. I think whatever you want to do, everything you can do here in Bangalore.
Yeah.
And food is good. Yeah, amazing. Like I think
Yes.
people are quite open here and more accommodating in nature. I think like you see now Bangalore, it's not like the old Bangalore that I was born here and then I've been in and out of Bangalore. So I've seen the transformation taking place. So uh, I think today it's more of like a, I don't know, a cosmopolitan culture here.
Yes.
We have people from all over India and so many expats. Everybody is welcome here now.
Yeah, I think in one sense, not in the not so nice sense, but in one sense, it's like New York City, because apparently you can stand and you can meet at Times Square. You can meet the whole world if you stand long enough in Times Square, because it's so varied. I sometimes feel Bangalore's like that. If you stand on MG Road, I think you'll meet practically anything and everything and everyone from across the country. Walking up and down MG Road or Brigade Road or wherever it is. I think all cultures, all ethnicities, everybody, is wandering around. So yes, it's very unique in that sense too. If you could have a conversation with any historical figure, who would it be and why?
I spoke of the school of ours based in a place called Kittu, right? A small, very small town.
Hmm.
So there is a story to it.
Hmm.
If you've read up history of Karnataka,
Chennamma.
Kitturani Chennamma,
Hmm.
yeah, she was one of the very first freedom fighters who fought against British. This was in 1824.
Hmm.
So, what kind of guts and how brave she should have been to do that at that point in time. Like our independence, everything came much later.
Hmm.
At that time, if she could do all that, like I would really want to have a conversation with her and like listen to her, like what went on in her mind and how could she do all that she did. Like I think her husband passed away and the British said that she could no longer hold her kingdom.
Hmm.
That's when she said, "No, I'm going to fight these guys."
Hmm. Amazing, right? At that time where,
Amazing.
yeah, nowhere in the world could a woman dream of doing anything actually in any part of the world. For her to actually be the ruler and to stand up against, the invaders and say, no, no, this is mine and I'm here to stay and I will fight. That's kind of sort of amazing. She probably was one of very few women in the world who probably had that kind of guts, right? I mean, not like in a city.
Yeah, yeah,
She,
that's
like a,
this was like a very small kingdom that she had. It's like
mm,
not big like the Vijayanagar kingdom where she had a lot of forces. It's like a very small kingdom that she ran. Whatever she didn't give it given to them, right? And she said, "No, I'm going to fight for you."
amazing.
And probably, I think she died in that war, but still, she fought until her last breath.
Wow. That's something else. What have you learned from success and what have you learned from failure?
Again, as I said Bindu earlier, for me, more than a destination, the journey is what matters more.
Nice.
Like I learn from every bit. I call myself a lifelong learner,
Hmm.
and and education should ignite that spark in you so that you have that quest for more. Whatever you're doing, like success, failure, I think it's all again a part of life. Like I told you earlier, like being tough days, not so tough days. It's all same for me. In a similar fashion, I think success and failure both teach you something.
Hmm.
So that learning is more important than what comes at the end. And obviously, to be successful, it's efforts that play. You can put all the best that you have from your end, but the result may turn out to be something else
Hmm.
that is not within your hands. Your efforts, the kind of perseverance you show in doing something, how your sincerity, your integrity towards it. I think that is in your hands. That's what you do the best.
Hmm.
The rest, I think, will follow. If all these things have fallen in place, I think success will come to you. So I would want to focus more on these aspects than thinking about that end goal.
Great.
That's how I.
Yes, no, go ahead.
This is what I tell my son also. Like, exams, results, all that is fine. That's important for you. But then enjoy the process of learning.
Hmm.
Each day you have something new. Enjoy that process. See where it leads you. Does it want you to know more about a certain thing? Go explore that. Probably you're like falling back on some of your assignments. Probably it's fine. As long as you're learning something new, exploring something new. I think that is what makes life worth it. Learn something new every day.
Nice.
That is
Very
one
nice.
thing I've always tried to follow. Learn something new.
That's really nice. And I agree. I think all of us are guilty of this because once we kind of finish school or college or whatever
Yeah,
is expected of us, right? We kind of get into this humdrum phase of our lives where we get so busy with work and family and kids and all that. I think we don't learn, we don't try to learn. And even if there is learning, we've kind of become a bit blunt about about our ability to learn and do new things, right? I think we get into a phase of minimal learning to survive through our careers and stuff. So I get what you're trying to say. If we can just continuously and constantly learn or learn something new every day, as cliched as that sounds, if you can actually do it, I think we would enhance our own lives many folds over.
exactly. Just like 2, 3 years back, like Sakshan does French in school. So I had no clue about head nor tail of it.
Hmm.
Like he came with times like asking for help. I didn't know what to do. So I thought, okay, I was freelancing at that time. So I thought, like, well, let's start learning French. So
Nice.
I drove down Whitefield to Alliance Francaise
Wow.
for like 1.5 years, 20 kilometers one way, and I learned French. And it's nice, it's nice to go back to the classroom and sit and listen to somebody teach you. And like as a grown up, you have different uh, kind of learning. It's not like a forced kind of learning. This is something you want to do, so you're doing. It's
Hmm.
very interesting.
Yeah, I've never heard of I don't know of any parent whose solution to child not knowing French was to learn it herself. I've heard of tuitions, I've heard of finding a tutor. This is a new one. But it's a good one. It's a good one. Uh, all right. What about BIS?
And it
Go ahead. Go ahead.
what about
No, no, go ahead. Finish.
no, like I'm a person like I like to learn about different cultures, how people live, and and all those things. So learning a new language gave me a perspective to all those things. French culture, French customs, food, especially their food.
Hmm.
It's they're famous for their food, wine, and all those things. So it gave me nice insights into that. I
Yeah,
totally
no.
enjoyed it.
It's a beautiful language. I mean, I've been in love with English my whole life. I think it was literally not a
Mhm.
choice. The language that I like after that is really French. As beautiful as it sounds, it's really, really
Yeah,
beautiful. Yeah, it's got a beautiful sound to it. The next thing I want to ask you about is what about BIS is inspirational?
Um, I told you that I studied in a boarding school and we've had a very strong bond with the teachers. Like I spent during those 7 years, I think I've spent more time with my teachers than with my parents.
Hmm.
I went home for 3 months in a year and the rest 9 months I was with my teachers. And like we were just like what of 10 when we joined the school.
Hmm.
And like the way they took care of us and the way they groomed us and we passed out of the school as adults at the age of
Hmm.
18. So
Hmm.
I see that's a kind of bonding between the teachers and the kids and BIS. Like sometimes, like when I've heard some teachers speak to me, I've thought like, oh, I don't know about this my kid, about this about my kid. Like they probably some teachers knew section better than what I even know.
Hmm.
Some they are like so open with the teachers and then the kind of interactions they have, the talks that they have, like they're so open about it. And the entire culture around BIS, I think it's always been of transparency. I
Hmm.
think when we came to admissions, Francesca took us all around the school. Like it was like a school was in progress. It was not like a holiday. It was a working day. And she took us all around, showed us everything possible, like there were classes going on, we just interrupted for a moment there. And it was like so wonderful. Like the other schools that we went there, they're like they come after working hours. We have a scheduled interaction. You see the school
Mm.
only in those settings. You
Right.
can't take pictures. You don't get to know the fees. You fill in the form. Only then we'll let you know the fees. There's like so much of it's not transparent at all. So
Mm.
these are some of the values that I think I respect. And then that is why BIS is inspirational.
Right. It's I've never seen it as transparency, but you're right. There is a sense of we don't have to put away anything or hide anything before a new parent walks about. You can see us just the way we are, and we're quite happy with the
Yes,
way we are. We have nothing to, the kids don't have to be put on notice that we have a parent or a new parent, right? Which is like you said, transparency. I've never seen it like that, but that's a really nice way of explaining one of the things that makes BIS different because of that sense of we have nothing to hide. You
yeah,
can
there is
come
that
in.
openness.
Yes.
Yeah, there is that openness that we saw.
Hmm. Interesting. Very interesting.
Like as a new parent, that is what you want to see. You want to see some made up kind of a show, right? You
Hmm.
put up all good pictures, you arrange a class in a particular way, and then present it to a parent. No, that's not
Correct.
what you're looking for.
Right. Interesting. So what?
And then the way the kids, they're like very open. It's like the way probably somebody would be at their home, lying around, reading something in the amphitheater, and just having a nice time.
Hmm.
Still different. It's not like that very monitored and it's like set up kind of, this is what you do, this is what you don't do.
Right. Right. Yes. Very interesting. What life-changing event in the past has shaped you today?
Okay. I think I would say this is like a self-induced life-changing event. I, I'm again going back to my boarding school thing. Like, this was not a decision that my parents took for me. It was like something that I wanted to do.
Hmm.
Like, I was very adamant that I'll go to the school. I don't know what had got into my head at that time. And like, I probably, my mom, even now, she tells me, like, I didn't have food for 2 days, saying I cleared all those tests to get into this school. And then I just was adamant, I have to go to this school. I think that's school. And then, like, probably the events that followed um, has made me this me today. I'm
Hmm.
very independent. I'm able to take decisions, think through very clearly. Because from that age, I've done things on my own. Like washed clothes, cleaned, done every possible thing.
Hmm.
So being some that kind of independence that's got into me, I think that decision had a lot of play in it.
Hmm. Right.
And even after, like, I haven't had like a very structured career kind of thing. I've taken it as it comes, and I think each time, like, there's been no force from anyone. Like, I've done what I wanted and what I felt was right at that moment. So I think
Splendid.
that played a very big role, and I'm really thankful to my parents. At, like, they let a 10-year-old make a decision, and like, they stood by my decision at that time.
Yeah, that's
I have to
quite
say.
gutsy about as far as your parents are concerned to let a 10-year-old make that call. So that's a splendid one. That definitely, I think, would qualify as an event that changed your whole life or gave it a certain trajectory. What is one thing about you that most people don't know, but you wish that they did?
Okay. So here's the thing. Um like, uh, I am a fun person, like having been in the forces and all this. But I am one person. I am very, very extremely scared of dogs. The way they get friendly and come and leap at you, right? Like, I am gone in that second. I'm any heart attack. I'm like frozen.
Yeah, okay. Now everybody knows. All right.
That's why I'm
So,
like always running away from dogs and all. And probably they think that like I don't like them or whatever. Like, this fear is there. So always keep them at a distance.
So bullets, not a problem. Dogs, bit of a problem. Friendly ones, especially.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
As long as they're there, somewhere or there, I'm fine. But the way they want to be friendly with you and then like, totally frozen.
okay, noted. No friendly dogs for Akshata. Make sure it's only bullets and uh, marching orders.
I'll handle them well.
All right, this is a new one now. All right. Okay, from that funny one, something a lot more serious. What are your thoughts on the concept of women seeking permission, whether in personal or professional contexts? Please explain. We're not talking children, we're talking about adult women.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely not necessary in the not anymore. At least like people like you and me, I think at our level, I think it's not there so much. But then I see many women are still uh, in that cycle of like where they have to ask for permission for various even small little things like getting out of the house, getting particular clothes, education, for many different things. But I also see some change coming in now.
Hmm.
Like I like interacting with my house help. I keep asking them like what are they doing, how are the kids, and all these things. So now I see like all of like two of them like they're like very particular that their kids are educated.
Hmm.
They're taking efforts that maybe they all come from very small villages. Like one of them, she comes from a small village in Bihar. Okay, nobody in her family has even like gone to school, but she's like taking efforts,
Hmm.
seeing to that she has two daughters. She wants them to be educated. I don't think she's waiting for permission from her parents or in-laws in her hometown. She is taking this decision because she sees the world now, and she sees like education is a great enabler, and they're taking decisions. I think somewhere in small bits and pieces it is happening, but I think still a lot needs to be done as a society so that we empower them. I think being physically and like sorry financially independent is the key.
Hmm.
Getting these self-help groups, there are a lot of them. I think somewhere there, those small seeds can be sown, and then we see a progress coming through.
Yeah.
I think it has to happen.
Yeah, it's very sad that we live in this sense in the two Indias where you and I can be doing this at 9 in the night and nobody would ask questions. However, if you had to go to a rural part of any part of this country, this would not be allowed, even what we are doing, because, there are timings for everything and rules for what a woman needs to do. So 70 plus years in, it feels so disheartening to know that over 50% of the population cannot take a breath without being told when, how, why, which, where, so on and so forth. And yet, on the other side of the spectrum, there are all of us who have so much of agency. So this part of the two Indias is very hard to actually come to grips with.
Yeah. I think it's not about only about like telling girls that they can do whatever they want to do. It's also about educating the boys that
Yes,
everybody is equal.
correct.
You do, and let the other gender also do what they want to do. Okay. There should be equal amount of privileges and facilities given to them, like at all levels across the society. I think even that change has to come in. Without
Correct.
that, it's not happening.
Yes, very true. Completely agree. What is the best piece of advice that you've ever received and how has it influenced you?
Best piece of advice was like during this pandemic days, like there is a lot going on. Like I would see like these online classes go on, like kids half interested, like something is going on, Minecraft is going on parallelly, YouTube is open, there's a class going on. So that was at that time I started having these thoughts about like is it how education is going to go? And like when it started off, there was like we didn't know like how long the pandemic is going to go on, like long these online classes. That's when I started exploring a lot of different things. like unschooling. There's a concept I came across: unschooling, homeschooling, and all this. And so there's this uh, a group of people. Like I think it's like the husband and wife who started this thing called Jagriti, and they run a course called Jagriti, which is like about like talk. It addresses various different things. So I did one of that course, and then it started. The very first thing I think they taught was like challenging your own beliefs.
Hmm.
Like there are like lots of set beliefs that we have. Like I don't know, based on your experiences, based on various different things. Some of them may not be even based on your experience. You just heard somebody say something, and that becomes a part of your belief.
Hmm.
So that one piece of thing I got during that course, like see, challenge your beliefs.
Right.
Probably what you believe is not right. See why you believe in that. Like what are the things that led you to believe in these things, and start questioning all of them. Probably you know like what is the real thing behind it. I think that somehow I think I've been implementing that, and I think that that's a very valid. I wouldn't say an advice as such, but this is something I learned during the course. So I think that is one thing which is very, I could say like I've like changed the way I think and approach things after that.
Splendid. Moving on to a different topic, is there a particular book or movie that has had a significant impact on your life?
One more revelation. Like I watch a lot of movies, I read a lot of books, but I don't remember any of them after a certain amount of time.
Hmm.
But if I have to talk one book, like I think all this the in 1991, like our country opened up its economies and
Yes.
the entire thing of globalization happened and all this. I think that's when we were in school, colleges. We didn't get to hear much of it, or not probably not pay attention to it and all those things. And somewhere in the early 2000s, I read this book called The World is Flat by Thomas
Hmm.
Friedman,
Hmm.
which about like how wonderfully like he visited Bangalore and he spent a couple of months here. He interacted with Nanda Militan, and then he spoke about how the world is getting flatter and how things are changing, how all these macroeconomic factors are affecting each other, uh, the other countries. And there are like 10 enablers he listed out. I
Hmm.
was just going through the book again. Like at that moment in time, those 10 enablers like internet and I think outsourcing and a couple of things that he had mentioned. At that time, it like felt something so new and unique. But now, if you think about coming to 20 years later, I think how the scenarios again changed. So at that time, that book, like it kind of hit me. Like I thought, oh wow, so many things are happening. There is like a transformation the world is going through. But again, like now, if I look back at it, it's like it's a series of changes that's taking place. So not a life changing book as well, but it had like quite an impact on me that
Yeah,
time.
yeah. No, he's a brilliant writer and a brilliant thinker,
Yeah.
Thomas Friedman. Yeah, and I was just, as you were talking, I was just thinking, he said that the world was flat before WhatsApp and before Chat GPT. I wonder what he will say now because, I mean, just with just with technology at that point, now you look back and you think, gosh, that was such baby technology. Have you not heard?
I know, like, yeah, it's nothing new.
Yeah, so now I wonder what I don't know what his latest books are, but it doesn't feel like the world was flat then. Now it looks like the world is literally a small pond or it's a locality now, the way we all work with, like just WhatsApp, just what we're doing right now. Who would have thought of it even 20 years ago? I mean, this is ridiculous, the kind of access we have right now. Very interesting book. Good choice. What are your goals or aspirations for the future, both personally as well as professionally?
I think it's a wrong. Professionally, I think I don't know. It's a very wrong question to a person like me. Like as I told you, like I like to do things as it comes.
Hmm.
All these things various things that I've done. It's never like planned, like I want to do this, so I'm going to work towards it. Probably other than getting into the Air Force, I think the rest everything, it's just I've flowed through my way and I've like accepted it as it comes. So I think I'm happy if I'm doing my job well and creating value for my company today. I think, and I'm learning something new in the process. I'm happy. I don't have like lofty goals. Like to me, all this success, fame, power. I think it doesn't matter. Like as long a person should be happy doing what he or she is doing,
Hmm.
and what matters to me. And so professionally, I wouldn't say like I have a goal that I want to become this, that, nothing like that. I'm going to take it as it comes. Like, personally, I think after some point in time, probably when child is grown up, he's gone to college or something. At some point in time, probably I want to go and teach like in the current field that I work in. I work in a website startup. So I look after the content that goes onto the website and all those things. And the big focus of ours is bringing about financial literacy.
Hmm.
So this is one point where most of the Indians lack. Uh,
Yeah.
we don't have much knowledge about like what do we do with our money, how do we budget it, where do we invest,
Hmm.
is it the right investment? Like all those basic concepts, I think it's never taught in schools. So we have somewhere we are like not uh, in sync with it. So I would like to probably like teach some communities, like especially the women folk, about how do they go about all these things. Somewhere I want to get back to not get back, like get into teaching at some point in my time.
That'll yeah, that'll be remarkably life
Or
changing.
yeah, and probably like if possible own a small piece of farm somewhere and do stuff.
And do stuff.
I
Wow.
think yeah.
Yeah, cool. Um, in most problematic situations, would you make your decisions and find solutions based on black, white, or gray areas?
I think while it's very easy and obvious to see what is in black and white, but I think as we've lived our lives, we see like like it's the easiest solution that we can go to. If things are black or white, it's like easier to come to a decision and probably like show it to others and all those things. But then things are never in black or white. It's always somewhere in gray. But then again, my shade of gray and your shade of gray will always
Hmm.
differ.
Nice.
If it can be black and white, I think it's best. Like that is like would be my first point, and then probably dig deeper and see where it takes me.
But would you compromise on, sometimes when you say black and white, it's also about right and wrong. So would that be something that you're very clear about, or would that be, like more grayish?
I think depending upon situations, I would say.
Hmm. So, like, would you say something is right or wrong? Like, for instance, not something as clear as say cheating or something, but something like what's going on currently, where the means justify the ends. So the ends might be all great, but the means you're using is doesn't justify the ends. So because that then people think falls into the gray area. For someone like me, it doesn't. It's very clear that
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah,
it doesn't.
it's
Yeah.
very clear.
Yeah. So when you're saying when it comes to those kinds of things, you're very black and white.
Yeah, black and white, yes.
Correct. Okay. Last two questions and more fun ones. Are there any hobbies or interests that you're passionate about?
Oh, not of them. Like gardening is one of them. I have, I think, close to 100 pots at home,
Wow.
and I also tried my hand at growing vegetables.
Oh,
Like there's been hits and misses. Have like been successful sometimes and badly failed at other times.
hmm.
It's again a very interesting learning experience. Like, and I've tried to do all this with what's available at home trying. I've been composting my wet waste at home for the longest period of time. I think more than 15 years, and I
That's
use
super.
all that for my garden.
That's super.
And I have been taking quite a lot on that. Let's see how successful I am. But
Wow.
otherwise, I love traveling, especially road trips.
Mm,
Like I've been to the most uh, adventurous kind of trips. Like we did a road trip to Kutch, a 3 week road trip all the way to Kutch.
wow.
I think quite some time back. The recent one was to Chhattisgarh, and we stayed somewhere in the jungles of Chhattisgarh. We camped there. Like my husband
Seriously.
is always saying, like, you don't love me, I know that. So why do you keep getting me to these places so that
Wow. That is truly adventurous. Yeah. I have some people in my family like this, but I don't have the genes, so I'm truly adventurous stuff.
yeah.
What do you do for fun, Akshita?
Music is one thing. Like any time of the day, I'm like not feeling in mood. I can play music. If I want to focus, I play music and work. Going on walks, there has
Mm,
to be music. And one more thing is like music. I'm not like a very big fan of the Spotify or not. I like our good old radio when the RJs go blah 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 blah. I like to listen to them.
okay.
Then
Uh,
much of like I feel there's so much of fun element in that. They talk about what's going on in the city
mm,
and all this things. I feel it's nice to listen to them.
nice.
Yeah, that's fun. Or and then one more thing that I've like recently started during the pandemic is like I'm trying to um, uh, have these formulations of like home-based cleaners and get soap nuts and do all those things. I've been
Nice.
trying experiment. It's
Nice.
like a lot of fun. My
Nice.
family calls it all lucky stuff that I keep doing, but somewhere it's nice.
It's nice. It's always nice. I think the pandemic that way has been very good for a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah,
us because I think a lot of people discovered stuff like arts, craft. Some people changed careers
yeah,
altogether. Some people
yeah,
revived, long forgotten hobbies. So I think for urban, Bangalore, for sure. I know people who've done a lot of things because of the pandemic, because you were stuck at home and, literally people locked our doors and threw away the keys. And after some time, you were driven to YouTube for help, and then you decided to bake and cook and make soap
yeah,
and all of that stuff. Yeah. So that was
yeah,
interesting.
all of that. Yeah, that's
So
yeah,
one good thing
somewhere the
that came out
creative
of that.
side of uh,
Go
you
ahead.
explore your creative side. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I said like the pandemic gave us an opportunity to explore our creative side probably.
Yeah.
Like with
Yeah.
all our mundane day-to-day life. Somehow it's like it was all gone shut.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all went back doing something or the other.
Cool. Before we sign off, Akshata, do you want to say something to the parent body? Is there something that you want to tell all of the people listening to you?
Yeah, I think I would like to say one thing that like all these 3 months has shown us a lot of like mistrust,
Hmm.
lot of things that shouldn't have been said to each other. And like from my experience, what I've seen, like, friends fight, couples fight, like there so many fights happen between
Hmm.
neighbors. But at the end of adversity, we all have like emerged stronger. I
Hmm.
hope that is what holds in uh, future for the BIS parent community as well. We all come together and really build the school and take it to uh, greater heights. So all our children are like benefited and like they grow up to be the next set of global citizens
Hmm.
who not only value like its education is important, but then we should bring them up with values like of being kind,
Hmm.
empathetic to each other,
Sure.
building bonds. Like somewhere in all this, like the entire society is becoming very materialistic, very consumerism.
Hmm.
So let's go back to being the normal, caring, and connected community that we've always supposed to think. I'm very optimistic, and I'm very sure that's where we will be in sometime in future, very soon. Hopefully.
From your mouth to God's ears. Thank you so much for the time that you've spent with us. All the very best for the elections. You guys are IB5. I said that earlier to Sanjay too. So in that sense, you know, we are like you. We already elected you once, so it was very unfortunate that we didn't get to see you function for more than a couple of weeks. I hope that everything goes well, that you guys get re-elected, and this time you're actually given the chance to do well. I think it's time for people who are optimistic, who don't have any other intentions, to really come in there and, you know, do a clean-up job, so all of us can then go back to being just regular parents, and our kids can go back to a wonderful institution like BIS. Thank you so much, Akshata, for all the time that you've spent with us. All the best. Take care.
Thank you so much, Bindu. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.